All right, everybody. Terrence Popp here with another episode of
Live from the Lair.
And today, I'm going to have to speak to you in a very direct manner. Basically, fuck
rude
your feelings. All right, number one.
Introducing the Working Man's Survival Guide in the Woke Era. 97 hilarious minutes of informative employment strategy. Popp will not only show you how to get a job, but how to keep it while avoiding the pitfalls of human resources.
What are you going to find? It's packed from topless to peach fuzz bottom with women. So if you're dealing with a whole department of emotional thinkers, do you really think your side of the story is going to have any impact at all?
Download your copy of the Working Man's Survival Guide right now for the cost of one Benjamin. Franklin, not Shapiro. Supporters on Gibson Bro, Locals, and Subscribestar will save one Jackson. Andrew, not Michael. Available now through August 4th. Click on the Linktree in the Meat Gazer box and follow the links. You'll receive your download link at checkout, so if you're using your phone, be sure to copy the link or screen grab the page. Thank you for your support, and rigor please.
You are not a special snowflake. The universe doesn't owe you shit except a death. And all of you whiny little turd burglars out there crying out for all of the unfair stuff that's happening to you, well, life is not fair, and it would probably benefit you to accept that fact. Because facts don't give a shit about your feelings. Number two. All right, we've had this beauty at any size, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It all boils down to this. If you are fat, it's because you're mentally weak and lazy, or perhaps both, and I dare say you're stupid. All right, now listen. I had a very close friend of mine die of double-fisted Tourette's of the elbow, and he did not like hearing the truth when I spoke it to him. In fact, he got really angry when I said that, hey, bro, you are so morbidly obese because you don't have any mental toughness, and I dare say you're lazy. Well, he was mad at me for about a week, and then, he pulled me aside and he said, you're fucking right. Listen, it is what it is. Now, the libtards out there are going to argue, well, there's people out there that just gain weight no matter what they do, and they just can't lose weight. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. Like I said before, you have the bell curve. 90% of the people are, contained within the curve, and 5% in the front and 5% on the rear. And the libs pick something at either the far right or far left, and they use that to argue for everyone in the center. All right, it's absolutely stupid. People are dying because they are too heavy. Listen, when you dial up the weight, gravity works upon you faster, meaning you will wind up in the 18th hole, which is 6 feet deep, relatively quickly. Went. All right, next one. You are not a 10. 10s are exceedingly rare. Usually, women who are true tens are making a lot of money walking on runways or making movies or what have you. Now, listen, I'm going to give these ladies kudos for, having the confidence to say that crazy shit. But if you think you are something you're not, that's delusional thinking and behavior. And I did a whole video on this subject called The Delusionist. All right. Now, typically, if you run into women who are 9s or 10s, most of them know it, and they are raging bitchaholics up until the point they smash through the wall, and then they cry about how they no longer get that attention that they did in their youth. Wah, cry me a river. Next one. All right. It doesn't matter. This applies to men or women. If you reach the age of 38 and you are not married, statistically speaking, you are not ever going to get married. Now, most dudes, if they reach the age of 38 and they're unmarried, they come to realize how valuable they are because those guys by that age are pulling down bank and they're going for the younger chicks. Sorry, ladies, 38, you've already smashed through the wall. You've run through all of your eggs. The game is over. You ran the clock. There is no more time for the extra point kick. It's done. All right. This one really bothers me here because, I am fairly sympathetic for individuals who deserve sympathy, meaning you are just minding your own business and something bad happens to you and you contributed nothing to it. That does happen to people. It's rare, but it does happen. All right. Now, if you're out there playing the victim for everything and crying wolf, let's just be honest. There are true victims out there. And by you coming forward and screaming and raising all of these concerns that you're a victim, and then everyone else does the same thing, you're cheapening the word and you're thinning out the resources for the people who are true victims. All right? Now, with that being said, there are some people out there who, I guess they're the same people who watch soap operas, I don't know. But they purposely sabotage themselves and their families and friends and their lives just so they could play the victim. Now, I'm not saying that behavior isn't completely unnecessary. Hell, people do it in Hollywood all the time to get more publicity. But you're not in Hollywood, and most of you never will be. And playing the victim cheapens the word, thins the resources, and makes you look stupid. When?
Because you have no soul.
All right. Now, the way it used to be here in this country is you got to go through kindergarten through 12th grade in whatever city you lived in, and it was funded by property taxes or whatever scheme the politicians put in place. For all intensive purposes, it's as close to free as you're going to get. Now, I knew lots of guys in high school, middle school, who literally didn't appreciate the fact that they're being educated. They wasted all of that time. And then lo and behold, after they graduate, they're digging ditches, doing manual labor or being stuck in retail hell. All right. And I would say a lot of those guys regret doing that later on in life. But the thing is if they have kids, the kids of today will not listen to that wisdom or learn from the mistakes of their fathers, and they're doomed to repeat it. All right? So it is what it is. And then some of the guys I know who basically blew off school point their fingers at other people and blame everyone around them except themselves. How crazy is that? All right, next. You are the sex you were born with. Your sex was not assigned at birth. It was assigned by God when he crammed you into the meat suit and shoved you down here on the one-way trip through the vagina to the primaterial plane. That's a D&D reference for you guys out there. All right. Now, we have over 100 different genders. We've clouded basically the connection between sex and gender. I really trying to wrap my head around this as a 50-some-odd-year-old dude who has, I spent a long time in the military, so my thinking is very logical, regimented, calm, and collected. And I just can't wrap my head around this because let's face it, there's male, female, gay, asexual. And occasionally, like the liberals always do, you get those people on either side or intersex who have chromosomes of both, exceedingly rare. But they use that argument to push their crazy agenda on the 90% contained within the bell curve. All right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, all of this gender crazy shit is nothing but a weird game of pretend. Meaning, if you ask these nut jobs, how do you express some of the weird genders that they have, they can't answer it. Because in their minds, they're playing delusional patty cake. It doesn't exist. Wah. Fuck your feelings. That's the truth.
That is so mean.
Now, I caught this one when my kids were going through this very young. Like, we're talking 4, 6 years old. And I took them out putt-putt golfing. And I'm like, and we go in, I pay for the clubs, the balls, the time. And I tell my daughters, get the score sheets. And they look at me and they say, well, Daddy, there are no winners and losers. We don't need to keep score. I'm like, really? Challenge accepted. For every time you sink the ball before me, I will give you $1. Because there are winners and losers in this world. And teaching you idiots that there isn't is setting you up for failure for the rest of your life. That is a truth, a fact, and that's the way the world works. Winners and losers. The gazelle, if he doesn't outrun the lion, he gets eaten. He loses. If he's successful at running away from the lion, he wins because he gets to live another day.
He's right, you know.
Number 8, and I talk about this in my book here. The Warrior's Way, Soldier Soul.
He's whoring again.
In my time in the military, I had a lot of soldiers look me in the face and go, hey, Sergeant, I just can't do that. I'm like, okay. Like, for instance, this one guy, I'm like, hey, you got to go out and run 2 miles. I can't, Sergeant. Oh, okay. Well, how many legs do you have? He answers 2. And I'm like, you're still sucking air. Are you on profile? No. I get your goddamn tennis shoes on because you are running that fucking 2 miles. Because when I hear the word can't, I actually hear the word won't. And won't is voluntary. Now, if you had 1 leg and you said, Sergeant, I can't run that 2 miles, I would be like, okay, get a crutch and hobble. But hey, it is what it is. All right, now this applies to every swinging dick and swinging set of tits out there. Most of the time when you encounter trouble or craziness, and in your mind you're like, I just can't do that. You're setting yourself up for failure. Now, a lot of people out there are going to get upset because I'm telling them the truth. I have a saying, if somebody's speaking the truth and people in earshot who hear it are getting mad, well, somebody in that interaction is living a lie.
Let's pretend that's not true.
Yeah.
All right, this one's going out for the special snowflakes, the scientists, all the idiots out there. All right. If you are not where you want to be in life, go to the bathroom and look in the mirror, because you are the direct cause 99% of the time. All right. So I knew a guy, went to college for basically to work in a library. And he got his degree. I think he got a master's in it as well. Well, he decided to do all that during the age of technology where librarians, for the most part, are obsolete. And I listened to this individual whine about this for decades. And he blamed it on everyone else. He didn't take any solace or accountability that, hey, maybe I picked the wrong subject in college. He didn't take any steps to correct himself or figure out how to, earn a decent living by doing something else. He literally wallowed in a pool of misery for decades. And I believe he's still there. I quit talking to him because I don't deal with liberals anymore. As far as I'm concerned, they're batshit crazy and they've lost the grip on reality. So what I'm trying to say here, you get what you give. You put in the effort and you will get rewarded. If you don't, you get nada. Next one, risk. All right. If there is a major difference between men and women, men are more likely to take risks. Women are more likely to be risk averse. And you can see it on what they vote for. The women, they say, screw the Constitution, screw all that. I want safety and security, and they're willing to surrender freedoms and what have you. Men don't do that. All right. Now, if you look at the Fortune 500 companies, usually it's men, because the men take the risks that pay off big. Women play it safe. Listen, if you play the game to finish, you will seldom, if ever, win. Again, fuck your feelings. That is the truth. If you want your life to change, open yourself up to some risks. Take some chances. Who knows? You might get an opportunity that you didn't have prior that you can capitalize on and make a bunch of bank.
I'm rich, bitch.
All right, number 11. Now, I've had to deal with this a lot. I talk about it in my book, about being knocked into the sea of mediocrity more times than I can remember. And each and every time I come crawling the hell out, many times covered in my own blood, because there is no place for me there. All right? Most of the people around you are completely average, meaning you're average as well. Now, you got a lot of people out there like, I'm a special snowflake, I'm not average. Yeah, right. If you don't want to be average, you got to step out of the box, risk a little pain, and climb your ass out of that pool of mediocrity. Because let's face it, the pool of mediocrity is boring, repetitious, and rewards you seldomly, if at all. You get what you put in.
Giggity.
Next one. Life is pain. You're not going to be able to live a life without experiencing some pain. And if you find yourself going to great lengths so that you don't experience any pain, you are not going to grow or change as a human being. Now, listen. The blacksmith takes a bar of iron. It could be just iron ore, just a bunch of rocks somebody gave him that came from the ground. And what does he do? He heats that iron ore up. He beats the living shit out of it with hammers and what have you, uses files, sharpening stones, what have you, to make the desired product that he's forging. And at the end, he turns that lump of rocks into a finely honed weapon. Something that can make a difference. But that entire process, I'm sure, was laborious and painful. What I'm trying to say here is if you want to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to navigate the valley of pain. And my advice to you gentlemen is simply this. Become friends with pain. Pain and I are well acquainted. I believe we're on a first-name basis now. It's been so long.
He's an asshole.
I think I'm going to make this a series when I come across stupid shit in the media and or the attitudes of individuals I come across. Because the youth of today need to hear the truth, and they need to hear it in a way that doesn't shield them from pain or what have you. I don't care how triggered you get. I don't give a shit about your feelings. Your feelings are not my concern. They're your concern. So guess what, gentlemen? Live your truth. Take some risks and become friends with pain. Get rid of the average, anchors in your life, and you will be surprised at how fast you could turn this whole nut roll around.